June 25th, 2018. It's now 7 o'clock p.m. I'd like everybody to rise and join us with saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I don't believe we have anyone here this evening for the invocation. I'll get in contact with Bama and see if they've scheduled for the rest of the year. All right, and with that, we'll move on to roll call.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Turney,
Here.
Commissioner Viancy,
Yes.
Mayor Hess.
Here. All right, with that, we'll move on to public comments. Citizens are allowed up to 3 minutes to discuss any agenda item.
Hi, I'm Alan Robont, 114 East Front Street. Several questions. What is the Sullivan Family Volunteer Forum? Approved purchase of materials for the common residing project not to exceed $9,000. Again, I'm begging you to do the building in white and not that sort of wrist-slitting, depressing blue color. I just spent 4 days with my family up in Leland and Suttons Bay and Northport. And interestingly enough, the wine industry up there started identically at the same time that it started here with Tabor Hill. And if you have any desire to create sort of a New Englandy look, an upstate New York look to Buchanan, stop with this really, really dated 1980s depressing blue color. And then last but not least, upright, quote for guardhouse, new tile roof, $10,650. I hope this is matching the existing tile that is there perfectly, because the other question is you've got the other structure right next door to it. I have no idea what's going on with that, but if you're paying $10,650 for the small roof, you'll probably be paying $15,000 to $18,000 to $20,000 for the larger roof of the building next door. And part of what makes them work together is that they have identical roofs on them. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Representative Pagel, did you want to go ahead and take your 3 minutes?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Dave Pagel, the state rep for this area from just up the road at Red Bud and Shawnee. We've just finished our budget and taken off for the summer, mostly a campaign season this year. The budget as a whole, I was pretty supportive of. Michigan's economy, as the rebound continues, businesses are doing better. Our income tax revenues are a little higher than we actually anticipated. We had a few extra dollars surprising us at the end of the year as we got a new revenue estimating conference, so we were able to put another $300 million into roads. Like I say, in general, our Michigan economy rebounding is really continuing. I did vote against the school aid budget, unfortunately, and it was actually one of the larger increases we've had under the Snyder administration. In fact, it was the largest foundation grant increase. It was actually a little more than inflation this year, which is the first that we've done. My problem is that some of the revenue that comes into the school aid fund, which is dedicated for schools, it's not revenue that we can just spend any way we want to. It's constitutionally dedicated for schools. This revenue is being spent outside of schools, some of it, and it bothers me. We had the revenue estimating conference in May, and we found we had over $100 million extra in the school aid fund. It got spent, but the proposed school budget did not change one penny, and the proposed higher ed budget did not change one penny. But money got shifted, and it got spent in other priorities, and I just don't support that. I think when the voters approved Proposal A back in '94, and I was on the school board, I understand it very well, that they expected dedicated revenue to go to schools. So I've also pushed for a little more revenue sharing than what we got, but with Chairman Verheulen's efforts and mine on the General Government Committee, we did do a little bit better than what the governor wanted to do, so we'll take small victories, I guess. But other than that, I am running for the state senate as John Prose is termed out, and I'm termed out of the House. I've served my 3 terms there. So in the Republican primary in August, I'll be running for the state senate. I feel that my experience with 6 years in the House, 4 years as a county commissioner, 14 years on the school board, and believe it or not, 40 years running Dave Pagel Produce. I don't think there are too many candidates that can stack up to that, and I'll try to keep, if elected, being a good listener and a good common sense person who will keep integrity in the House as best I can in the way I represent you. So that's all I have to say. I would take any questions if you or commissioners had them, but
Is there any chance of getting rid of no-fault insurance, Dave?
probably not completely, but I know in lame duck, we're bringing back some bills to try to chip away at some of the cost. We've made a run at it earlier this year. We failed to get enough votes amongst my Republican colleagues. We're going to make another run at it in lame duck, and maybe there are some things we could do, like put a fee schedule on what hospitals and medical providers can charge accident victims. Right now, it's pretty much the sky's the limit. If you get an MRI and you were in an auto accident, it'll cost 3 times what a regular MRI would cost. So if we could put a structure in place, is one of the ideas, getting at some of the fraud, of course, getting more accountability with that $20 billion fund of the catastrophic claims. There are some things we could do, and we want to, if we can't do a wholesale overhaul, we want to chip away at it somewhat.
Do you
We're
think
going to
it would
try.
pass on the ballot if it got put on the ballot? Would it get thrown out like it got agreed to when it originally got put in? Like if it got on the 2020 ballot?
There's a lot of things going to ballot initiatives that it might be a good one. We are more sensitive to it on the border areas here than our other areas of the state, but in general, it's not a very popular thing because it's just so darn expensive.
Okay. Commissioner Turney has a comment.
I was in Cassopolis not too long ago, and I noticed that they have a nice road repair done there in Cassopolis. Okay, how does Buchanan go about getting that same type of road money so that we can do our roads down our downtown area? It's a very nice job. The whole streets are completely redone. Very nice in Cassopolis. What can we do, or who do we see, so we can try to get some funds for our roads, especially for our downtown businesses?
Well, there should be more coming, actually fairly significantly more coming through the Act 51 formula from the state. With the bill we passed a couple years ago to bring more road funding, the 7.5 cent gas tax
Yeah.
increase and
Yeah.
all of that, it was really kind of an inadequate bill, and some of those are just kicking in, some of those funds. But we have in that bill promised $600 million a year from the general fund, and that is just starting to kick in. And we have just voted 2 different supplementals this year to the roads, so there should be more coming locally to the road commissions, to the cities and villages.
Basically next year?
But there's more coming pretty quickly because we did 175 million immediately, and then I think we put 300 million more in next year's budget. So, but I would say keep talking to MDOT folks too on any M roads. I know Cassopolis does look nice from downtown down to the
Looks very
lake,
nice.
at least that one section.
Yes. We won't get into any other issues in that
We-
town.
We have underfunded Michigan roads. It's sad, and we need more dedicated funds for that purpose. I'm not proud of where we're at with roads. We've made some steps in the right direction.
Anyone else?
Thank you for time. I know you've got a
Thank you.
busy meeting, and
Thank you.
Thank you for
you, Dave.
coming.
I won't be too rude, but I might slip out.
No, that's fine.
Thank you so much.
All right, great. If you just arrived, we're at public comments. If you have a public comment, you're allowed up to 3 minutes to discuss any agenda item. I saw some people come in once we already got started. Okay, and with that, we'll move on to the consent calendar. I need a motion to approve and a second, and then we'll open it to discussion.
So moved.
Okay,
I'll support.
okay. Discussion? I would like to address Mr. Robot's question regarding the Sullivan Family Volunteer Forum. The Sullivan family is from outside of Buchanan, but they are wanting to take over the landscaping outside the Tin Shop Theater. They, in the past, had done plantings, and they would like to refresh the plantings outside the Tin Shop. They had planted some trees in honor of a loved one, and they are wanting to continue that and to fix that up pretty much they will be covering the cost of whatever it would take to re-landscape and kind of freshen everything adjacent to the tin shop. Okay?
Commissioner Dean had a question.
Oh, yes, Commissioner Baganski?
I got two questions.
Yes,
One about the checks that we're about to approve.
okay.
We've already wrote a check for $5,300 for the guardhouse roof, and we're expected to approve another $10,000 tonight. What is the one and what is the other?
Okay, Bill?
The first check is a partial payment for that roof, and then you will have a balance after it's completed. Is that correct, Jan?
The total balance is the 10,000.
Yes.
So this is trail money though that's
This is
paying
trail
this?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, Your Honor, my
Yes.
next question is, well, it's the $150,000 on the budget amendment.
Okay,
I'd like to see that get tightened up, because there was quite a few add-ons, and I kind of understand some of it as far as the clerk, but, we had one that was for $15,000 increase for building inspections. We pay a building inspector, don't we?
yes.
So, I mean, was it slid over, or?
That was, Julie reminds me that that was an increase in the medical marijuana expense.
We didn't budget for medical marijuana, so that's probably spent.
Yeah, when we had to extract everybody's hours that devoted to working with, reviewing plans, doing inspections on the projects and property, that was where that increase came from.
Okay, yes.
This, I mean, I haven't asked too many questions when we've done this in previous years, but this was exceptionally large, wasn't it? The $150,000?
Well, it is, I don't know, do you want me to read first?
Do you want to,
All right.
we still good? You want to pull it off, or?
Well, I can move it off the consent calendar if we need to. I'll do that, too.
I mean, we can answer it pretty quick.
Okay,
So right now, general fund revenue, we are 120,000, we received over budget, and our expenditures for general fund, we are at 230,000, we've spent less than budget. All we're asking for is to make each line item within the budget, or within the departments, not be over budget. There's so many budgets that are not over, but some are. So what we're trying to do is just correct the ones that are over. But like I said, having said all of that, we're 354,000 ahead of the game right now. And even if you don't do a budget amendment, trying to make it look good for when we start our audit. We've already spent the money. You've approved
Right,
our-
I understand, no, I totally understand that, Julie.
If we don't, we're gonna have a lot of overages. And that's why we just do it once a year, just lump it together. We're gonna have a lot of overages on the financial statements. The bottom dollar's gonna still be the same. We're still gonna be way ahead of the game.
But this is high compared to, I mean, I didn't go back and look.
I don't know. If you'd asked me this morning, I could have looked to see what last year.
Well, I didn't, I really didn't,
I don't know.
Okay.
But I think that, this year we're far better off than we were last year, as far as the end result. We've collected more and we've spent less than what we projected. So $354,000. At this point, I was, I ran the report 2 weeks ago. So we're in great shape.
Okay.
We just want to make it look better on the financial statements.
Okay. Anything else, Commissioner Bygansky?
well, not really.
Okay.
I mean, I really don't want to vote to do this because the thing about it is it might cost us some time when we get audited. But I mean, I'd like to get this a little more tight, for future because, and it's not Julie. I mean, I understand we got thrown somewhat of a curve, but this budget was a whole year. We did know we had passed the marijuana thing, and there's some really big numbers in here. There's the $12,000 for the cemetery, and there's $15,000 for building inspection. There's $11,000, and I mean, Julie, the thing, I'm not questioning you on this. I mean, really, I'm not. But I mean, there's $10,000 for DPW. There's some really big numbers in here, and I mean, I know we made some budget adjustments during the course of the year. But what I'm trying to say is, I want to stop doing that. You know what I'm saying? DPW, and I mean, I've had discussions with you about this. I don't want somebody coming in here and telling me a piece of equipment took crap when he knew about it 60 days ago. Okay, I know. And that's the point I'm trying to make right now. I really don't want to pass this, because this'll keep everybody in check. And, and I mean, I know it'll make a little more work in the audit, but this would be public record then. And I mean, if we pass this, this is just going to be our authorization to say, well, it's okay for what we did and over the course of the last 12 months.
You already kind of have though, when you approve the checks.
Well, I understand that, but bits and pieces, not over the course of 12 months. And not only that, bits and pieces, it's always an emergency, whenever we do it, but it's not really an emergency because, emergencies are a frame of mind and a little bit of preemptive work might have got some of this put in the budget so that we didn't have to amend it after the fact. I mean, and
Okay.
it's very loose. I'm sorry. It's
Do you
very
want
loose.
me to pull that so we can vote on that separately?
Well, yeah, I think we should. I was going to pull it anyhow, but
right.
now that you had a discussion, yeah, I'd like to pull
All
it
right,
off the
well
consent
then,
calendar.
let's go ahead and vote on the motion on the table, which is to approve the consent calendar, and we will move the item D to just below the consent calendar, and that would be to approve the fiscal year 17-18 budget amendment as a separate item. So let's go ahead and have a roll call vote on the consent calendar, please.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Mayor Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Turney?
Yes.
Commissioner Bianski?
Yes.
All right, and then I'm going to need a motion to approve the agenda budget, approve the fiscal year 17-18 budget amendment.
So moved.
Okay.
I'll support.
Okay. Do we want to have any more discussion, or are we ready for a roll call vote?
Well, I would like to have a little bit more.
Okay,
'cause I
go
would-
right ahead. Yep.
I mean, I'm trying to make the case for voting this down. This is not a finger shaking right now. This is just, it's $150,000. And we've been doing this, and we've been doing this over the course of the year. We've been amending the budget, and it needs to be tightened up because a lot of the stuff that we spent, we could have done last year as a commission, and maybe we need to be a little more help to Julie. Maybe we need to be a little more help to Bill when we do these budgets so that we don't have a $150,000 amendment we have to do at the end of the year. So I guess that's all I got to say about it.
Okay. You guys made a motion and a second, right? Okay. All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Viganski,
No.
Commissioner Turney,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, and with that, we're going to move on to item number 6, reports by departments, committees, and boards. This evening, we'll be hearing from Jerry Flenner from the Chamber of Commerce. And actually, I believe he's going to also speak on behalf of the Lions Club as well. So we're going to hear from Jerry on items A and B. Thank you, Jerry. Welcome.
The first one's on the Chamber of Commerce, and this is just an update of our yearly activities. We committed to work on Thrill on the Hill, however, the weather didn't permit, so that was canceled last year. We had our second annual Bucktown Trivia Night up at the Buchanan Senior Center. We had 19 teams. It was a great evening. I think everybody that attended had a great time, and we're actually looking at the possibility of having 2 of those a year instead of 1 because they're so popular. We had our annual Chili Walk, which we had, Chili Walk's a little bit funny. It kind of depends on the, who you're going to give half of the money to as to the turnout for the Chili Walk. And this year, last year we had the schools, and so we had all kinds of people. This year we had a good turnout as far as the number of chilies, but the participation was down significantly. And that was, we gave the money to Parks, Buchanan Park. So it was down a little bit, but again, a successful night. Our annual dinner was at Orchard Hills, and again, we combined that with the high schools they have their Hall of Fame, and we've now had that together for 2 years and had a very successful night out there. Our perk breakfast, last year we had perk breakfast, one at the high school, one at Co-Alliance, one at Fabco, one at Fernwood, and Barry and Risa. We like to move those around and have different things for people to come to and socialize and get to talk about different things within themselves. The Summer Thrill, again, I believe, was canceled due to weather. So we are committed to doing carriage rides for the summer this year. We had 2 golf outings, one at Orchard Hills and one at Brookwood. Both came off very successfully. Business after hours, we had one at Hickory Creek, which is a new winery in town out towards the Baroda area. We had one at Redbud Fitness, which was probably our biggest and largest. Redbud Fitness really kicked in for that, so we had a very successful evening. We had one at Layman's, and we had one at Natural Instincts Massage, which is the new business out going out towards Sunny's. We participated in the Easter egg hunt. That was taken over by the city, and they were needing people to put Easter eggs together, so the chamber kicked in. We were told by the DPW that there was about 300 eggs when I think there was closer to 800 in that barrel. So anyhow, we got it done. And we also participated in White Saturday, the holiday lighting, and sponsored the pictures with Santa. So again, a very good year. We hired a new director. I think you've all met her. Her name's Carol. And we just continue to hopefully do the right things for Buchanan. So any questions for the chamber report?
No? All right.
Okay. The Lions Club. Your city manager has talked a number of times about the river, and the river runs through Buchanan, and we really don't do a lot to support the river and the activities. So the Buchanan Lions Club came up with the idea to have a kayak/canoe poker run. It'll be August 11th. It'll start at 9 o'clock in the morning. It will launch at the launch site below Wheatberries. We know, we just put it out about a week ago. We know we already have over 60 participants, so it's going to be a fun day. On the way, after they launch at Buchanan, there will be 9 stops along the way where the kayaks will go in and they'll pull a card. I thought it could be done on the integrity of the people, but a number of people tells me we should find a way code the cards so that people don't trade and end up with 9 aces. So we've got to work out a few logistics on it. But the first stop will be at my cabin on Bachelor's Island. The second will be Brian Fisher, who lives just past the DNR launch. Then it'll be Fernwood, Tom Gordon's, who is a Lions Club member, Bear Cave, Carol Burley's, which is on the way, Scott McFarland's, Ron Prosser's down in Lake Chapin, and we'll get out of the river at Jim Taylor's down in Lake Chapin. We have arranged for Dial-A-Ride to give people rides back, and we have 3 flatbeds to carry canoes and/or kayaks back, or the people can get back in the river and row all the way upstream to Buchanan if they'd like to do that. So that's their option. So $25 a person. We do have a registration form that we put out just this week, so we actually hope to get that number up around 100. I think it's going to be a fun day. It's not a race. It's get in the water, have fun, pull a card, and when you get to the other end, the best 5-card poker hand will win. We're going around town getting gift certificates, bottles of wine, and stuff like that. So should be a fun day on the river. So
Okay. Thank you, Jerry.
can
Thanks for
I
coming in.
jump in on one other one?
Yes, sure.
The trail. I talked to the group, the city commission, a couple months ago about safety on the trail, and we were going to code every 1/10 of a mile. We were going to put down. We were going to start at the Commons and go east and go west. And Jan and I did the east portion today, and myself and my 3 grandkids did the west portion. But every 1/10 of a mile, starting right outside here at the creek, you'll see a little thing on the sidewalk that says E3. And then a 1/10 of the mile down the way, it says E4. We're going to give that to the Buchanan Police Department, Buchanan Fire Department, and Bill recommends we give that to, who'd you tell me today?
911.
911. So if somebody's having a heart attack out on the trail and they really don't know where they're at, they can go to that thing and say, I'm at E9, and that should clue the fire department into where they're at. So we have a little bit of work to complete that, but and get the information to the groups. But
Okay.
should be a much safer trail. Not that
Okay.
we've had issues, but
Right.
never hurts.
Commissioner Cole has a,
I wanted to ask, I was out there by the trail here, well, it was last week, and had a couple of young kids come out of off the trail in a, I don't know what you call them, it's a 4-wheel driven vehicle. Are they allowed to drive those on the trail?
I don't believe so.
That's what I thought, but I didn't want to say anything because
Walkers
I'm
and
not
bicycles.
sure.
I think bicycles are okay, but not anything motorized.
Okay,
I don't
these
believe.
are really young kids, I'd say 10 and 8 or 10 and 9.
I did notice some damage on the trail today, and I reported it to JT that there was a bench over by, just past the tin shop that somebody busted all up.
Really?
And I asked JT to remove it and replace it with one of the ones that they're making for us, and he said he'd get that done. So
Okay.
anyhow, that's the report on all 3 groups.
okay.
Any questions?
Thank you. I think we're all set. Thank you. All right, and with that, we'll move on to item 7, unfinished business. And this evening, there is no unfinished business, so we'll move right ahead to item number 8, new business. Our first item is item A, approve the purchase of materials for the common reciting project not to exceed $9,000. Part of the siding maintenance project this summer we'd like to undertake is addressing some deteriorating siding on the common stage. So that's what this item of new business is. I need a motion and support.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Commissioner Baganski?
Well, we need to probably talk about what Alan's talking about. This is actually just for replacement of what it is though, right? So it is the blue color now,
Yeah,
or is it white?
Bill, can you answer that for
yeah,
Commissioner Baganski?
we looked at doing repairs on the cedar siding that's there, but it's so weathered and cupped, we're not going to be able to duplicate that weathered situation with the boards. We would piecemeal it in, it would be very visible. So our alternative is to use a smart siding, same stuff we used on the tin shop, very easily worked with. It seems to be wearing rather well. So that's what we want to replace the present siding with. The material cost will be right around $6,000. There'll be a little bit in there for unforeseens, a little bit for the labor through the seasonal worker. And so we think right around $9,000 we can get that done. The color I'm open for, so whatever is decided on that. But right now, I was just looking at the material costs.
Okay.
Discussion on the color.
Commissioner Attorney,
Is there any discussion on the color?
just go right ahead.
Excuse me, I believe the common committee was wanting to weigh in on that,
Yes.
so we have not had a opportunity to meet and discuss that, so.
Okay. So
We can get-
pending,
We can get responses back from the common committee, and anybody who really wants to comment, we'll
Okay.
look at that. And
okay. Commissioner Dale?
So we'll put this on hold, is that the consensus, until we get some
we-
more opinions back on, no, on the
On the color, right.
on the
Right
color.
now, what the motion is just to
Oh,
approve
right.
the siding, yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Turney,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes,
Commissioner Viancy,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Hess,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
would you be willing to move F up? So
Oh, yes, I totally forgot. We're going to move, we have guests this evening that need to move on to another event this evening. So we're going to move up item F, and right now we're going to approve the upright quote for the guardhouse new tile roof of $10,650. And let me just double check with that. In 2015, the McCoy Creek Trail Committee started restoring the Clark Equipment Guardhouse, which belongs to the city, with funds from the Gateway Foundation and labor from the committee and other volunteers, which has been completed. The roof has been repaired several times, and more tiles are broken and some are missing. The roof still leaks in some areas with hard rains. So I need a motion and support, and then we can open discussion.
so moved.
Okay?
I'll support.
Okay, and open up the discussion. Yes, Commissioner Turney.
The $10,650, is that, whose money is that again? I think Dan asked that question. Isn't
Okay.
that correct, Dan?
Yeah.
Bill, would you like to answer that, or would you like to have our guests?
Yep.
Come right on up. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Lloyd Miller.
Hi, Lloyd.
And I think everybody knows Jan, Jacob. The guardhouse was built, believe it or not, 6 years before I was born. Which says that's at least a few days ago. The problem is, we've not been able to match the tiles exactly. We're as close as we can get. They're going to remove the tiles that are there. They're going to take them to Chicago. They're going to be reprocessed in Chicago. Any that were short, they're going to supply, come back and reinstall the roof. It's a horrendous project. The cost is driven by the fact that not a lot of people do this kind of work. In fact, we started out with a list of 6 people that we requested bids from. We had one person return the call. And they're the people from Kalamazoo. In terms of funding, we have already received $7,500 from Gateway. We have a commitment of another $3,000 coming from Gateway, which gets us to $10,300, which is real close to their estimate. The total cost is at $16,100. Yeah, $10,650. That property is owned by the city. All the volunteer work that went into it was donated. It's been funded where we need cash from Gateway. And the city's going to end up with a guardhouse that's renovated and should last another 75 years.
What about Alan's comment about what about the other guard shack and the condition of the roof there, and would it be possible to make sure that both roofs match?
The other building that's there is owned by Kevin Barker.
Okay? And that would be his
That's his,
responsibility.
It's his personal property, or it's his real property. not
Okay,
personal
right.
property, His real
Yes,
property.
okay. Mm-hmm.
What Kevin's gonna do with that long-term is anybody's guess.
Okay. Okay, thank you for clarifying that for us. All right, we have any more questions? No?
I'm happy.
Okay. All right, with that, I need a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Viancy,
Yes.
Mayor Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Turney,
yes.
motion carries.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming and explaining that. All right, with that, we'll go on to item B, Resolution 2018.06-170, Annual Garage Sale, designate as the third weekend in June. Due to continuous request of rescheduling the community-wide yard sales, this resolution officially identifies the third weekend in June for the annual garage sale. I need a motion and support, and then we can have discussion.
I'll make the motion that we approve the annual garage sale designated as the third weekend in June.
I'll support.
Okay, discussion? Commissioner Viganski.
That is Father's Day weekend every year, right? Is that how that falls?
Father's Day
I mean,
always
this is not a, I'm not being,
No, you're
I've been
just
told
asking.
that that's usually when it is.
Depends on the date that it falls on.
So Father's Day moves.
Yes, every year it moves ahead
Okay. Well, I mean,
one day.
actually, that was a trivia question because I'm not really sure. I was just told that usually it's on Father's Day weekend. It's not really a big deal. I was just curious.
Okay.
So are we we voted on this. I've been here now 4 years and we voted on this every year and
That's
have
why we're-
moved it every year.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this, so we don't have to do that ever again. You should not have to ever vote
We shouldn't have
again.
let Jerry left
Why do we, what
because
is,
we've always moved it for the chamber.
oh, okay. Well, we're sticking to our guns now, so I need a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Turney,
Yes.
Commissioner Viancy,
Yes.
Mayor Hess,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. And with that, we're going to move on to Resolution 2018.06-171, recognize the Buchanan Tree Friends as a BARB subcommittee. The Buchanan Tree Friends have been meeting for approximately a year as kind of a club. The BARB is requesting that the City Commission officially recognize the Buchanan Tree Friends as a BARB subcommittee. The Buchanan Tree Friends seek to reforest Buchanan both through public monies as well as private donations. 100% of donations will be applied to the purchase of trees. I need a motion and a second, then we can open it for discussion.
I will make that motion.
I will second it.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments? Commissioner Viganski?
Of course. I need the definition of a standing committee because I have asked and I've never really gotten it.
Okay. I think our clerk can answer the definition of a standing committee, correct? Or would
Or
you like
not.
me to?
Did I catch you off guard?
You did catch me off
She's
guard.
writing, hang on just a second.
Well, I'll help her. The reason why I ask is it's actually in the charter, no standing committees.
Right.
This is a subcommittee of the BARB. It's not
Standing committee.
a standing committee of the city commission.
Okay, so then what is a standing committee?
There isn't any. The commission can have a ad hoc committee. You can create an ad hoc committee that is defined by a length of time or a purpose. And once that purpose is complete, it disappears, but you don't have a standing committee that reports directly to the commission. That's why a lot of things are organized under the BARB.
Okay, so a standing committee is what you're saying is if
Right.
we decide that we want 3 people or 5 people
Right.
to go out and do something and only report to us.
Yeah, we can't have any of those. So the Buchanan Tree Friends cannot be a subcommittee of the commission. We had to
right.
fall under the BARB.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
All right, any other questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Viancy,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Turney.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to item D, road maintenance plan with the Berrien County Road Department. Road maintenance plan with the Berrien County Road Department. The commission's estimated quote for 16 different streets or portions of Buchanan streets that we have determined need seal coating this summer. The county notes that this is an estimate, which is $68,900. I need a motion and support, and then we can open discussion.
I will second it.
Thank you. Bill, would you like to kind of open this for us?
Sure. Mayor, Commissioners, in your packets, you received a list of multiple streets that we've designated or recognized as streets that would benefit from the county coming in and doing a chip and seal on those streets. I know there's some reluctance to have the chip and seal on some of these streets, but it is a good bang for our buck in extending the life of the streets that we have designated here. And we did this last year. The results are still visible as we move forward. Again, it's as I said, it's the best bang for the buck. It doesn't put us back to a true blacktops, flat surface roadway, but it gets us down the road quite a bit farther with our money.
Okay, questions? Yes, Commissioner Turney?
Is this like going to be like it's not a crushed stone. This is
It's a limestone product.
crushed stone, and then
Yeah, crushed stone.
It'll take the tires to eventually. It's
Yep,
not like we had a couple of years ago.
No, that was a slurry.
Yeah,
That
did not do well.
Yeah, didn't do very well, especially downtown. That it did not wear as we thought it would.
So we're going to have
yeah.
the crushed stone.
Yeah.
Hopefully, within a year or two, we get the tax money that was shorted
Yeah.
because it didn't
Yeah,
tax enough.
we just this week we're finishing up with the TASER ratings for our streets through the SAW grant. So we'll have some numbers and evaluations or grades that we'll put with our streets, and that'll really help us designate where our money needs to go. So
Okay, Commissioner Turney again?
One other question, do you know how long this will take? There's quite a number of streets here. Do you know any estimates on that?
it moves along pretty quickly.
Okay.
Even though we have, let's see.
Is there about 2 miles there, Bill? Maybe?
Yeah, we have 16 streets on the list to do. I believe it'll take about 2.5 days. They move right along
Okay.
with the chip and seal.
Okay.
Seal.
Commissioner Vyganski?
This is what we did to North Detroit. And I guess my question is how many of these rocks are going into our sewers and our basins?
We do follow up after they've been out there a week. We'll come in and we'll street sweep them up. And actually, the excess stone we pick up and we reuse in the city. So, yeah, will some get into the drains? Probably, but we limit that by coming back and picking the excess stuff up.
I got one more comment if I can.
Okay, one more, yep.
This is really cheap of the state. This is really cheap of the county to do this in the city. I mean, they need to come up with a way better idea. I mean, they taxed us. They couldn't tax us. So they raised our fees, and then they said they didn't have enough fees, so they got to raise our fees some more to give us the money they promised to give us to begin with. And how much, is that basically sum it up?
If I may interject, Dan. Remember the email I read from Dave Pagel to me personally? They taxed at 7%. They should have taxed at 15%. So they were actually 6% short, and that's why there was a shortage in the road funding right now. So they're just catching up. So that was his response to me when I asked him. and he sent me the email explaining that, yeah, they didn't tax enough.
And I'd like to make the recommendation that someone from this body maybe go to a road commission meeting and ask some of these questions about why it is that, things are the way they are, and maybe, get some answers directly from that board. Yes, sir.
The county did away with the road commission.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Oh, great. Well,
It's gone.
okay. Well, I guess I know how I'm going to vote, but I would really encourage the city to get out and sweep up that extra gravel right away, because I did notice, and it's still a problem, that when I walk along the edges of Cayuga, it's pretty bad. It's been flipped up into the grass, and it's, I think there's a lot more loosening than just having the sweet streeper come by one time. I think it really needs to be maybe several times, because I think a lot of it has ended up in the yard of the resident at the end of Cayuga, and there's a patch of grass between the sidewalk and the curb on the opposite side of the street, on the east side of the street, where there's also a lot of gravel. And I only noticed that because I walk that way a lot, so it might want to be looked into. So, Commissioner Attorney, did you have one more comment?
I do. Thank you. Bill, I was wondering, is there a way that maybe we should try to contact the city of Cassopolis to see how they got that funding for that? Have you seen their road?
No, but if it may.
Is it because they
Is
have
it
a courthouse?
Is it the main?
The main drag,
Okay, so that is
right through town.
That is a state highway that goes through there. So I'm suspecting that some of that funding went to them. We get NATS money. Again, we get federal and state money that we use to do the Front Street, the east side, the south of Redbud. North Redbud is, hopefully will get done in 2020. But those are all state monies that we use to do that. We had a local
Right.
match
Right.
of
good.
25%, but the rest of that money came from the state and the feds that come to the local, allotment board, I guess you could call it, the NATS group, and they dole it out. Again, not enough money to go around, but what we do get, they dole it out for the members' projects that come up. So I would suspect that if that's the state highway, the state may have come in there and did that right through Cassopolis.
Oh, it's right through.
So,
Right through. Beautiful.
yeah, well, I bet.
Okay.
That's US 12.
And with that, let's go ahead and have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Turney,
Yes.
Mayor Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Viancy,
No.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, and with that, we're going to move on to item E, AFS CME contract. The new labor contract with AFS CME Local 2757.11, that would include our DPW, the water, wastewater, city hall, and police departments. I need a motion and support, and then we can have a discussion.
I'll make the motion that we approve this union contract.
Can I have a support?
I'll
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Bill, can you kind of give us a little background information on this for the people in the audience?
Yeah, Mayor and Commissioners, this is the duration of this contract is 3 years long. That's what is kind of preferred, so we don't have to go into negotiations with a contract every year, because it usually takes multiple weeks to get through all the little details and the back and forth that does go on. So this contract over a 3-year period offers an increase of 2.2% a year for the employees that are covered by that contract, which consist of 2 employees here at City Hall, 1 at the police department, 4 at the DPW, 3 at the cemetery, 3 at wastewater, 2 at water. department. And so that's what that contract covers. There are some verbiage changes, as you saw in your contract. They were highlighted. That was kind of a housekeeping chore that Randy provided us, that the union accepted that those minor verbiage changes in that, just to make it more readable, understandable. But
And for those of you in the audience, AFSCME stands for the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. I'm sorry I didn't mention that earlier.
so, again, this is our second union contract in the city. The POLC, Police Officers Labor Council, was settled a couple of weeks ago. So.
Any questions? Commissioner
And
Viganski?
their union has ratified this contract, so.
Okay. Commissioner Viganski?
What the taxpayers don't understand, and I just want to put this in a little perspective, you really can't talk about this too much because it's a union, and the union doesn't allow you to talk about it, and they don't want anybody negotiating it besides the negotiator. The problem I have with these contracts, though, is I've got 8 years where I work. I get 5 weeks, 3 days, time paid off per annum after 8 years. After 2 years in the city employees get 9 weeks. But not just that, 10 sick days a year, and this is great for the ones that are working for this, and they're not making normally, this is always the government's excuse. This is not about the employees at all. This is a government's excuse. Well, we don't get paid, they don't get paid as much, so we give them bennies. Well, 10 sick days a year accumulated. You can accumulate 1,000 sick days. So you get paid them when you leave. Then there's comp time. So really, I can't vote for this contract based on the fact that we're still getting so much non-productive time, 3 to 4 weeks of non-productive time that we're paying for, not counting the sick days that are going to accumulate. And that's not just the working man, that's management too.
Okay. Commissioner Attorney?
Well, I'm looking at this, and I know the vacation, it says after 6 months, they're allowed 24 hours. After 1 year, they're allowed 40. After from 2 to 5, that's 80 hours. Sick days, I see in here, that's, according to this, what they have in here is, after 6 months, they're entitled, after 6 months, they're entitled to 5 days of sick leave. Everybody gets sick. I think this is a fair contract. Dan, I don't know about you, but, families need time off for different things. I think this is actually a really fair contract for the city, and I'm surprised that the union didn't ask for more.
Commissioner Cole, Commissioner Moore, do you have any comments or questions?
I think the contract is good. I think what they're getting out of this is great for them. They all work very hard for us. They look out for us. Yeah, they don't get paid real well per week while they're working, but by golly, they need and deserve whatever they can get from us. And I think this is a great contract. And they probably deserve more, but, we can't do it. But I will vote for this.
Okay. Commissioner Moore, did you have any questions or comments?
Only if you want to hear me cough. No, I think this is very fair and more than fair. So, I mean, this is an agreement between two parties. This is good, and everyone came to a conclusion, so.
Commissioner Attorney?
Just want to make one other comment. Me, as a retired individual, I work for Notre Dame as part-time. Part-time. I get 2 weeks vacation. I get 4 sick days, okay? I get holidays as a part-timer. 3 days a week, 3 days on, 6 days off. So these are things that I think are benefits that every person needs in their daily life. So I think we're giving them a fair contract.
Okay, with that, I'll need a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Viancy,
Nope.
Mayor Hess,
Yes?
Commissioner Attorney,
Yes.
and Commissioner Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, we're going to move on to item G. We've already addressed item F, reliability study and general plan water system. The city of Buchanan will need to update its water system reliability study per Part 12 of Act 399. Water supplies are required to be updating their reliability study every 5 years. I'll need a motion and support, and then we can have discussion.
I'll make the motion that we approve the reliability study and general plan for the water system.
I'll support.
Okay. Bill, would you like to give us a little more information about this, please?
Actually, I asked Scott to be available to help explain and answer any questions you have, so.
All right, Scott, come on up.
You'll have to forgive me, I'm fighting a summer cold as well, so I may have a coughing fit too, but, so we are required by DEQ to have a reliability study every 5 years. Whether or not there is an associated hydraulic modeling done with that, it's kind of dependent upon whether or not we have any major changes in our distribution system. I've actually put this off for several years because I was hoping to get a couple of water main projects done, or at least get through Payden Park that I've been talking to you guys about for 3 or 4 years now. That hasn't come to fruition. Now the DEQ's said that's enough. You had a water main extension in 2009 out into the township. It's time to get this done. So what I'm asking for is permission to go out for bid on this reliability study / hydraulic modeling for our distribution system. The reliability study will cover everything from source water through treatment, through distribution, storage. That will be comprehensive for the system. The hydraulic model really deals mainly with what's in the distribution system with our towers and our piping and things of that nature to ensure that we have sufficient pressure everywhere in the distribution system. So we're not asking for anything at this time other than the approval to put that out for bid, and it is going to be required by the DEQ. Our district engineer has changed. We were with Gary Wozniak for the longest time, and Gary let me kind of kick this down the road a couple of years. He has since taken a position with Lansing Water and Light. He's no longer our district engineer. And it's been indicated to me that this needs to be done at this time. So that's what I'm asking for, is permission to put this out for bid to various engineering firms, and then they will come back and we can select which one we wish to go with at that time.
Okay, any questions from the commission? Commissioner Viganski?
About how much? And this was budgeted for, sort of, wasn't it?
Well, this came about in April. It really was brought to my attention, and we were most of the way through the budgeting at that time. We have one bid from Prine and Newhoff. Even though we haven't put it out for bid, they shot us a bid of about $9,600. They have all of our data because of the work that they've done with our GIS system and through various things working with the SAW grant. So whether anybody would be able to beat them as far as price and familiarity with our system, I don't know. I think they definitely have a head start. So I would think that number would be very much in the ballpark of what we would be looking at.
Okay. Anyone else?
I guess I got one more.
Okay.
I'll ask, did we kind of budget for this, Julie, or are we going to have to amend for this?
I don't believe we budgeted for it the 18-19 year, but when we go out to bid and find out what the winning bid is, when you approve that, you'll approve the budget number as well.
Okay.
Okay, all right, roll call vote, please.
Mayor Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Viancy,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Attorney,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for filling us in.
Thanks, sir.
All right, and with that, we're going to address item H, City Manager Bill Marks' evaluation, and he is requesting a closed session for this. So I need a motion to move to a closed session.
Also move.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll adjourn to a closed session, and we'll be back as soon as we're finished. With that, we're on to public comments. Citizens are allowed up to 3 minutes to discuss any non-agenda item. I did want to report one. I did get a call from Norma Ferris earlier this week, and she's requesting the city consider either repainting or replacing our traffic signs because she has noticed that there are quite a few drivers training children out and about learning how to drive, and that some of our signs are kind of beat up and faded and whatnot, so she wanted me to pass that along. All right, and with that, we're at city manager's comments. Bill?
Mayor, Commissioners, let's see, where is it? Oh, I do have a letter from Pearson's. I know we've had the conversation about the DPW building, and we had the work sessions in that. And the idea that was presented to us to consider hiring a project pre-development service. I do have a letter from Pearson's with an amount of $12,500 for that service to help us get to the point where we understand what we want and probably see some, initial plans possibly and placement on the property, the size of the building. They'll work us through the process. They'll answer the question about do we want to combine the fire department with this building? Do we want to consider Smackus Ambulance being part of this? What do we want to do with it? I think that would be highly beneficial for this group to take advantage of. And I'll seek some other bids between now and the next meeting, July 9th. And hopefully we can get to the point where you're comfortable in making a decision to move forward with that pre-development service to get us going down the road a little bit more.
Okay.
Another item that is shown up today is a quote from Bill Green to replace the retaining wall on the mill race. There's a concrete wall that, according to Bill, the wall was actually a foundation wall to a building that used to sit over that race, but we look at it as part of the retaining wall for the mill race, and so to replace that and improve it to make it even stronger, we have a $9,300 cost for pretty much taking that wall out and replacing it with an 8-inch by 46-inch concrete wall and backfill that wall. So again, the first person I spoke to about it gives us kind of a ballpark to work with. I'll see what else is out there to that other contractor that might be available to give us a quote and be willing to do that kind of project. So we got, all right, so we need to schedule a work session for the wastewater plant. We have a couple of questions that came up that would affect the design that is going on now for the updated plant, the oxidation ditch, and some of the functions at the present plant. What we get rid of, when we demo out there, that's something we'll need to listen to Bill and Jason, and I'm hoping for this coming Thursday at 6 o'clock. I know some of you have some activities later that evening, and I'm thinking that we will probably need about 30 minutes to 40 minutes to hear
What time?
6 o'clock. Is that
20
possible?
28th,
On the, yes, Thursday, the 28th,
I can be there.
6 o'clock?
6.
Where's it going to be at here? Meet here?
Yeah, we can have it right here.
It's gonna be tough for me because it's the end of the month. It's hard, you know, that
Yeah.
early, it's very hard, especially end of the month, end of the quarter. But,
I can have Bill and Jason do a written report on.
yeah, I mean, basically, you know, I have a pretty good understanding anyhow, and I'm really more worried once we get into the teeth of it, you know, and I'm gonna be pretty adamant about the demolition of the old building. So, I mean, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the issues, the primary discussion point will be around commercial waste. We have the capability with our permit to accept some commercial waste here, which will add to revenues. And the commercial waste is what we're hearing in the newspaper. A lot of wineries, breweries, distilleries are having difficulty processing and getting rid of their commercial waste. That's something we could take on pretty easily with our system in our present containment tanks. We could accept it, store it, and then trickle it into our system as we can without causing us too many concerns. But to do that, it would create a little bit of a design consideration in the design of the new plant. So that's what we'll hear about. And again, as I said, Commissioner Viganski, I'll have Bill and Jason write a report to kind of outline.
I mean, not to, I actually talked to him.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, in the last couple of weeks since Three Oaks has had their problem.
Oh, yeah.
Because I asked him, you know, if we could take that on, and at this particular time, no, we can't. So, I mean, because I was going to go over there and say, come on over to Buchanan. There's a building on the hill that's empty, take it over. I think he's got 90 days over there in Three Oaks yet, doesn't he?
They're in a pickle.
Yeah, he's up against the wall.
And Broda's close behind them, so.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you. And with that, we're going on to commissioners' comments. Tonight, we'll start with Commissioner Cole.
Oh, I guess anything I want to say is, seeing as we're at the end of June here, I wish that everyone have a safe and happy 4th of July.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Moore?
I wanted to extend condolences to the Johnny Jackson family. She just passed away recently. And I also wanted to thank everyone who's all winter and all summer have been taking care of all the ducks at the duck pond, even the lane ducks. I've seen people come up and give her little cups of food and little cups of water, and it really just shows what a caring community we really are when we're taking care of just our city ducks. So I appreciate that, and it's nice to see people do that.
Thank you. Commissioner Turney?
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. First item that I need to talk about is the Planning Commission. We met a couple weeks ago, and we started the review of our master plan, and we hope that in the next month or so that we will get our final questions out there for the community to assist and get their feedback. I can't impress enough that it's important for the community to give us their feedback once this comes out. I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but this is the opportunity for the rest of the city to give us some ideas of what they think about the city, what the city should do, what kind of repairs and so on. So we were in quite a long discussion at the Planning Commission. If anybody would care to come to the next planning commission, which, what is it, I think it's the second Tuesday in July at 7 PM here. Come on out, maybe you can help us, okay? I don't know if anybody's seen, but a lot of the new signs are now up here in Buchanan. Mr. Dennison has done a great job. He's hoping to have them all up by the end of the month. So if you kind of take a look around the city, you'll see most of the signs are up. It's a nice touch. I think it's looks very nice. Bill, on the Front Street light by the gazebo, I've been trying to remember to say this for a couple of meetings. They never changed the timer on that. So I keep forgetting to bring it up. I finally put the note down, so if you can have that, that's minor, okay? And I don't know if anybody heard today, the United States FDA approved the first medical marijuana drug today. And that is for epilepsy.
Epilepsy.
Yeah, epilepsy, sorry. So I just want everybody to know that it was approved by the FDA, United States FDA. Second thing on the medical marijuana, I shouldn't say medical marijuana, I should say about recreational marijuana, the country, not the province, the country of Canada approved it for their whole country. So I just want to bring that up. That's all I have to say.
All right, Commissioner Viganski?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to excuse me from the first meeting in May. Yeah, there we go again.
I'm not,
Can you second it?
Mayor,
I
go
don't
ahead and
know.
ask for
What-
support.
I don't know if you can do
You
that.
ask if you have support.
Do I have support for that?
Motion falls to the floor.
I can't
Sorry.
give you support. Get
All right,
support.
you got anything else for your comments?
I'll give you, I'll tell you what. He wants to vote.
Yeah. You can
I'll
second it.
support.
All right, roll call
Thank
vote.
you.
Okay, 1 second. That was the May meeting? First May? That was.
That'll be the first meeting in May. I think it's the 14th.
Commissioner Cole?
No.
Commissioner Moore?
No.
Commissioner Turney?
No.
Commissioner Viancy?
Well, of course, yes.
And Mayor Hess?
Nope.
Motion fails.
Thank you. Thank you all. And I want to thank you all on the behalf of my wife for all the condolences I got from you for my wife. You know, you might hate my guts, but my wife, she lost her father, you know, and you can all just, I can't even say it publicly, but I will. I don't want to get into the habit of not being able to miss the meetings because we're all entitled to miss the meetings. Miss Moore, you're quite sick tonight. I hope you're not contagious, because I would excuse you from the meetings. As a commissioner, I think all I need to do is call under the rules, and I did do that. But it doesn't matter if you excuse me or not, and the commission pretty well voted on it, so. But there is one other thing I wanted to ask in that meeting I missed. You all passed an ordinance to extend the deadline, and I don't really understand it after the fact and why you did it as a commission. And I guess I'll direct that question to the mayor.
Okay, I'm on the commission I'm on the election commission, and we met because what it says in our charter wasn't being followed, so we had to change it according to our charter, because otherwise we were going to get into a lawsuit with two folks that want to be on the ballot but couldn't because they assumed that they had more time. And if you have more questions about that, I'm sure our new city clerk would be happy to go over that with you, or Randy, our attorney. But that's what we decided at the election commission, and it had to be done to avoid a lawsuit by two people who were going by our charter, which wasn't being followed for how our elections were set up.
Well, I want to be on the record stating that we did have a primary in 2004. And, you know, I have been in contact with both the clerk at the county and the city clerk here.
Okay, well then
and the
forward
state
that
clerk.
information to us, that's fine.
It's my comment period,
Yeah,
correct?
go right ahead.
You know,
I'm
it is
just
my
saying-
comment period,
I'm just
correct?
saying you should forward that information to us then, thank you.
I'm done.
Okay. I just wanted to say thank you. Recently, we had the Buckteen reunion, and Buckteen reunion is for all people that graduated 40 years or more from the Buchanan High School.
She looked at us when she said
I
that.
know. I knew you would laugh, that's why. But Mary Newman was a graduate from 1979, and she, during Buckteen weekend, she's done some really lovely paintings in watercolor of downtown Buchanan, and she donated this one to the city. Mary's card is attached to this, and once we get it displayed here at City Hall, I urge you, if you're interested, she has other, I bought a lovely one of Piers Mill and a lovely one of downtown Buchanan today. This is the more historic one, but her information's on this card. I suggest, and her prints were very reasonable. I think I spent $40 for 2 prints. So support a former Buchanan alumni, and also we need to send her a thank you card. I just thought this was really fabulous. She did a great job. Also, it's summertime and kids are at home being bored. I want to encourage all the parents to remember that we have 3 especially fun things here in Buchanan that other communities don't. Number 1 is the Bookmobile. The Bookmobile goes out every Monday. I place schedules over there behind the police officers on the table. We go to, let's see, the high school for Meet Up and Eat Up. We go to Riverside Estates, Hills Haven, Catherine Park, and then we conclude the day at the Duck Pond. All times are kind of approximate, though, depending on the weather and the heat. And then don't forget, you can bring your children to Catherine Park on Monday and Wednesdays I believe it's from 8 until noon. You can check their Facebook page, but there's activities all summer long on Monday and Wednesdays at Catherine Park. And then don't forget, we have our favorite Buchanan rocks. People around Buchanan are painting rocks. Here's a sample, and then hiding them on the trail. That's always something fun you can do with your little people at home too. And then I'd also like to congratulate Alice Kring for her 20th anniversary as Redbud Insurance in downtown Buchanan. She had a lovely celebration. She gave away jars of jam, and there was food, and it was a lovely time. So Commissioner and Cole and I both got to go to that, and it was a really nice time, and it's nice to see a business last for 20 years. So thank you to everybody that came to that. And with that, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
I also move.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.